Section 4 Wrestling. You know you want it.
Yo, Vince. This is Steph Tanner from Section 4 Wrestling, only on YouTube, where the big boys play. You know you want it. What's good, man?
What's good, huh? Not much, kid. Dealing with the same old crap. The usual crap.
I wanted to get into that. I wanted to address the elephant in the room, which is, I'm glad I got to do this interview. I believe it's the last one before your doc series. Let's talk about that. The documentary series airing on Netflix.
The Netflix documentary. It's all people are talking about nowadays. The world just can't seem to get enough of the great Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
So, I know at one point when this first came about, the Netflix approached you to do a documentary series on your life. You was heavily involved in this. How much involvement do you have on the final edit?
I was involved in every single aspect of it. This is in my story after all. I had final say on everything. That's why the damn thing's actually getting made, all right? No way I'd let some newbie filmmaker get their hands all over my legacy.
So, if that is true, which I believe allegations are saying that you don't actually have any involvement in the series now, but if that is the case, would it be possible that a lot of things are going to be unshown?
Allegations, huh? The usual dirt sheets trying to stir up trouble? You give that crap too much attention. But let me tell you something. I've seen rough cuts. I know what's in that documentary. And let's just say it may not be as flattering as they'd hoped.
So are you admitting that things are going to be aired, dirty laundry is going to be aired, which you might not necessarily want aired?
I'm not admitting anything, kid. I'm just saying that not everything in that documentary is going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's some stuff in there that I may wish didn't make the final cut. You know what they say, all publicity is good publicity, right?
Not necessarily in your case, because speaking of cases, a 67-page dossier came out, published with allegations against you. 67 pages by Janella Grant. I'm assuming a lot of that's not going to be shown because obviously it's still under investigation.
That bloody dossier. I've seen it, all right? Nothing but mudslinging bullshit. They're trying to pin anything and everything on me. But listen here, kid. That's all under investigation. Until then, I'm innocent until proven guilty. So don't you go believing all the dirt sheets and gossip sites. They'll say anything to get clicks.
Are you doubting everything the media is saying about you? Surely, with everything that's gone on in your life, there must be some truth to this. Hush money. A lot of people are saying you gave people hush money. Now, if these allegations are true, that's the only alternative I can think of in your scenario.
Is disdain for the media evident the media? Hell, the only truth they know is the truth that sells. They'll say anything to get a headline. Trust me, kid. I know the dirty tricks of this business. As for the push money, I haven't done anything illegal. Money changes hands all the time in this business. It's how things get done.
No, pushing money around isn't illegal, but however, some of the things you've done are illegal.
And what exactly do you think I've done, kid? I ain't no saint, I'll admit that much. But I've played the game by the rules. I'm smart, I'm cunning, and I'm always one step ahead. It's what made me who I am today. So you can take your accusations and shove them where the sun don't shine.
All right, I think things are getting a bit heated now, so let's move away from the docuseries. Let's talk about you and your health. You are getting old, let's be honest, but still you have this great physique about you. How have you managed to maintain it so well after all these years?
Years of hard work and discipline, kid. It ain't about age, it's about your mindset. You gotta take care of your body, stay in shape, eat right, you know? I'm living proof that you can still look good and kick ass, even in your golden years.
Something that your dad created, you've turned it into this juggernaut that is the WWE. It is the biggest franchise in the whole of sports entertainment and one of the biggest names in sports in general. You know, you count how many followers on Twitter and how many views you get on TikTok and YouTube, social media wise, you are bigger than some of the biggest names, NBA, NFL, Premier League. You roll them all into one and they still don't get the views and likes and shares as much as WWE.
I took my father's little wrestling territory and turned it into a global empire. People these days, they don't know how it was in the old days. They weren't there. They don't understand. I remember, and I never forgot, that's what made me who I am today. And I'll be damned if I let anyone or any damn documentary try to take that away from me.
1985 was kind of like your best early year with the launch of WrestleMania. So I've seen it all, and I can appreciate what it was and what it's grown into nowadays. But going back to the old days, at what point did you think, you know what, I've nailed it?
1985. That was a turning point, kid. That's when I knew we had something special. WrestleMania, that was the birth of a new era. Back then, I just knew we had something that would change the game. I could see it in the people's eyes, feel it in the arena. That energy, that passion, I knew we were on to big things.
2022, you decided to call it a day and retire. What was it that made you think now's the right time? Because after all, nobody expected it. Nobody saw it coming. And sooner or later, you'd sell all your shares in the company and hand it over pretty much to TKO. Yeah, for a very large sum of money, understandably, but why now?
It was a lot of things, kid. I ain't getting any younger, that's for damn sure. And this business, it's a young man's game. But it was more than that. I was tired. Tired of the bullshit, of the lawsuits, the constant headaches of running a billion-dollar empire. I needed a break. And the money they were offering, well, it didn't hurt.
No, absolutely. And let's be honest, you know, you've got your son-in-law now, Paul Levesque, he's at the helm. How do you think he's getting on?
He's a decent guy, don't get me wrong. But he ain't me. He ain't got that vision, that instinct for this business. If he's the CEO because he married my daughter, that don't make him cut out for running this empire.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that kind of response. I thought you'd be all for it, but I guess that's you in a nutshell. But let's talk about the end of your career. By 2022, is it fair to say your booking decisions, do you think you were kind of forgetting about, well, kind of not really going with the times and getting stuck in old ways?
Forget about the times. I made the times, kid. I'm the one who wrote the book on this business. Yeah. Maybe my booking decisions weren't always popular, but they drew money, didn't they? These new kids don't know the first damn thing about what makes this business tick. All these damn indie darlings and flippy little spot monkeys. It's a joke.
Yeah, but like I say, you know, you could, if you analyze, I'd say 90% of your booking decisions, they were batshit crazy. I was hoping to do a bit of a word association game with you. I'm going to make a statement and I want to hear your response.
Okay, kid, let's play. Go ahead, let me hear it.
Okay, decisions you made towards the end. The first one being in 2020 and 2021, you made your annual departures from the company. A lot of them were backstage people, but you also had a lot of on-screen talent. And some of them were big names, like Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt. You got rid of some big names. The OC. You know what? Why?
You want the truth, kid? Those releases, they were hard decisions, but they were necessary. The company has to trim the fat sometimes. We can't be weighed down by talent that's not pulling its weight. It's a business, after all. You can't hold on to people just for the hell of it. We've got a roster full of future superstars. Sometimes you got to let the old get replaced by the new.
But why replace the old with new when the old are probably just getting to their peak?
You think Braun Strowman or the OC were hitting their peak? They were stale, kid. The fans had seen it all before. We needed fresh faces, new energy. You can't keep trotting out the same tired acts and expect people to keep...
Bray Wyatt at the time was probably the hottest thing in wrestling.
The Bray Wyatt hottest thing? Maybe. But that don't mean he was what's best for business. Like I said, sometimes you got to make hard choices. Bray was a talented guy, no denying that. But he was unreliable, difficult to work with. I couldn't have that kind of liability on my roster. He pauses Eyeing you carefully. Business is business, kid. Emotion can't get in the way of that.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, especially with Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, plus many more. Cody Rhodes, that being another one. I mean, look at where Cody Rhodes is right now.
You want to go down the list, kid? Fine. Sasha, Cody, they were talented, but they weren't loyal. They wanted more than I was willing to give them. Sometimes you got to cut your losses and move on. But don't you dare question my decisions, kid. I built this company. I made these names. And I know what's best for business.
An hour before a 3-hour live episode of Raw, you're ripping up scripts and telling them to rewrite it. 10 minutes before a match, matches get changed, matches get added. Any thoughts?
You want to talk about that? I was playing 3D chess, kid. I was keeping the boys on their toes. You can't predict this business. You've got to be able to roll with the punches, adapt on the fly. Besides, there ain't nothing like the thrill of creating a show on the spot, kid. You should try it sometime. It's a rush like no other.
Well, I'm hosting this interview on the fly. It was all very much last minute. But the things you changed on screen, it wasn't for the better. We saw the ratings were plummeting.
Numbers fluctuate all the time. You think I was worried about the ratings? I was focused on creating the best show possible. Besides, those low ratings just show how much people were hanging on my every word, waiting to see what crazy change I'd throw at them next. It kept them guessing, kid. That's entertainment.
I think it's fair to say you've jumped on this digital platform idea where it's all about just making content. Whether it's good or bad, the WWE name will carry itself and people will buy it, regardless of whether it's good or bad. Whereas now we've seen with Paul Levesque in charge, he's put the heart back into it. And guess what? All of a sudden, everything's going up. Merch sales, subscriptions, ticket sales. They're packing out arenas now, where sometimes you were struggling to get half the arenas full.
You want to talk about HHH? He ain't got nothing on me, kid. He's never had to deal with running this empire. It's easy for him now. With all the groundwork I laid down, he's just reaping the rewards of my hard work. Don't you forget, it's my vision that made this business what it is today. HHH is just a chapter in the book that I wrote.
Okay, well, that's how you see it, I guess. So I can only take your word for it. The last one. So the last one I want to ask you about is shortening people's names or giving them entire new names because it didn't fit in with your original plans. So we changed names like Walter into Gunter, Pete Dunne into Butch, Pip and Niven into Dewdrop. Are there any of these ringing any bells? Along with people like Humberto or Angel.
Oh yeah, I remember those names. Bunch of no names who weren't making an impact. They needed a change, something to make them stand out. Giving them a shorter, more streamlined name was a good way to get that done. See, that's the thing, kid. You're thinking too much. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut. I saw potential in that kid, but his NXT image wasn't going to cut it on the big stage. Complete rebrand, a fresh start. That's what this business is about, kid. Constant change, constant evolution. You can't just cling to the past. Besides, it's not like it's the first time I've done it. Austin, Rock, Hogan, they all started out with different names. Sometimes you got to change things up, kid.
Yeah, I get that. But surely you've got to realise that when you've got someone like Pete Dunne, who's been displayed all over NXT and NXT UK, everybody knows him as Pete Dunne. You change him to Butch, guess what? All of a sudden, people don't care. I want to know, Vince, what would you say when you die, you want above your headstone? And it has to be something that you're most proud of, something you did or achieved that you're most proud of.
If I had to pick one moment, it'd be the birth of WrestleMania. It's the biggest event in this business, and I created it. I made the impossible happen, kid. I turned a sport into a spectacle. That's my legacy. That's what I'm most proud of.
You certainly did do all those things, Vince, and we've got to wrap it up there. This is the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for coming onto Artificial Interview. Why don't you tell the people listening at home what you're up to, where they can find you, and what you've got going on?
You want to know what I'm up to? Well, kid, I'm running things, as always. You can find me backstage, pulling the strings, and making sure everything runs smooth. No one does it better than me. And remember, whether you love me or hate me, you're still talking about me.
Vince McMahon, thank you very much.